He knows how to design fun for the young and fun for everyone. He's a passionate purveyor of play, a nation-leading youth play designer and director of the multi-award-winning design studio Playce. Both Aaron and his design studio are serious about fun. I stole that from you. Awesome. Lovely. Welcome, Aaron.
Great. Okay, guys. Yes, it's very hard to follow such fantastic, articulate, intelligent young people, but hopefully I can kind of build on what they've talked about and hopefully perhaps take some of the questions or the wants that they rose and how we as a practice are starting to put them into place. Pardon the pun. So forward. So firstly, who am I? So one of the things I've noticed in this whole conference and throughout my practice is everyone's got a title and everyone's got a name, and for us, are we place-based designers? Are we landscape architects? Am I a skate park designer? Am I a parkour specialist? So I thought about it and I thought, what's the best way of kind of capturing what I do? So I thought I'm a designer, so I'm a designer of places and spaces. And I thought, well, a lot of them are active. So I'm really a designer of active spaces and really trying to get people moving and enjoying life. But interestingly, we create physical spaces. And one of the things that I've noticed with the discussions today, a lot of the play has been about activation and performance and art and music. But what we're actually trying to do is create that urban space that can be appropriated for activity. And a lot of it's geometric. So I kind of went, I'm a designer of active geometry. I kind of like that. So I'm Aaron Wallis, and I am a DAG. Okay, so just a little quick thing about Playce as well. Yeah, we're serious about fun. We came up with this title a number of years ago, and we love that kind of concept that we're taking fun really seriously, but we're making sure all my team are always having fun doing it. I think one of the speakers was talking about play and work and the differences. We get to play as our work, and it allows us to be creative. It allows us to deliver really exciting and innovative spaces. And it keeps us alive. I'm also a father of a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old, so they keep me busy. But just really quickly, just about what we do, and sometimes when you say you're a place-based designer, people go, oh yeah, this is what you do, but we're serious about sculptural play. So this is a project at the MCG. It's a large Sharon football that you can climb on. We're serious about active play, so skate. This is a project in Albury that's won a number of awards. Serious about adventurous play. I love this project where we turned up and this guy, and he was wearing a Superman t-shirt, and I was like, oh, why are you wearing that? Now I know. He jumped from log to log. We're about inclusive play, so this is a project in Cranbourne which is a fully inclusive all abilities play space with sculptural elements that we work with, collaborate with a fantastic artist agency of sculpture. We're serious about water play. Serious about quirky play, so we do mini golf and sculptural elements and things like that. We're serious about iconic play. This is the Perth Regional Play Space, which we've delivered in the heart of the CBD of Perth. All of the structures we've designed ourselves and had fabricated. We're serious about social play, so we do a lot of work in schools, in education institutions, in high schools, just creating places where people can be social. Serious about natural play, so we do a lot of work which is both obviously natural systems, using flora and fauna, sculptural elements, timber, rocks, stones. We're creating natural environments in which to play. Urban, we're serious about urban play, so we do a lot of spaces. This is a project in Brisbane actually, which was a parkour and free running space. And we're serious about interactive play. So this is another project we did at the MCG where we recreated. Does anyone know what these things are? Yeah?
Test match.
Test match, yeah. So those old people in the room. It was one of those games we played, and so we had to create some of those. So we worked with a fabricator to develop them, and it's great seeing really young kids engaging and interacting with them. And we're serious about exciting play. People being expressive and doing what they need to do and having fun, and this is a really interesting project in the CBD of in Hobart. and we designed this nature-based play, but one of the key stakeholders that use this space are actually parkour enthusiasts. And we designed it and we thought, oh yeah, this is really cool. And then they said, oh, what's your latest project? And we went, oh, it's down in Hobart, not telling them it was a parkour space. But because we designed parkour spaces, they went, oh cool, we can come there and use that space. So they come down and they've used it and they flip and it's great. You can just see, but there's a couple of kids just watching on the play space, seeing these other older kids having fun and flipping and doing everything. Okay. So that's a little bit about us. So I suppose we're never pigeonholed. We're never a consultant that does this thing. We only do this type of work. We do any kind of play for any age. So we do intergenerational stuff as well. I was talking to Deb about it, trying to make sure that spaces and places we design are for all. I'm a bit... We're often asked to design youth spaces, and I have a real issue with making sure a space is just for one age cohort or one group, and that's not what we're about. But what we're trying to do is create spaces that are inclusive for young people. So, but why is it so important? So, all right, I'm going to start with a quiz because I like doing a quiz. So, I want to get everyone in the room. It's quite a complex quiz, so I want everyone just to it's just one simple question. If the answer is no, you can leave now, okay? All right? Great, okay, great. We're all relevant. Everyone can enjoy this. Yeah, fantastic, guys. No one's sitting down, so that's good. Maybe there's a little bub, isn't there? They can still stay down. Great. So sit down now, guys. But I just want to make sure I had the right audience, and so that all the right people in the room. I've also loved getting some groundbreaking research and making sure that I'm really at the front of the industry. And I found out that 100% of all adults were once teenagers, which is great, isn't it? So that's really helps me understand that all you in the room have experienced being a teenager. But of course, this is what happens, isn't it? Just wait until you're at my age and you forget what it is like to be your age. Yeah, so we all forget, and I think that's one of the great challenges. And I think one of the speakers in the last panel discussion talked about that, remembering you as a teenage person and what you wanted. And I think as we grow old, we get pressures and we get all these issues that start to stress us, and we start to forget what it is to be a teenager. I keep clicking. Oh yeah, because around 20% of the population are young people from 10 to 24, and that's a significant part of our Australian population. And so I think critically important part of people in this country that need to make sure that they're actively engaged. And early on in my career, so this is probably a reflection, circa 2002. So this was back when I was almost a teenager. But I heard this statement on the radio, and I just went, that sums it up, doesn't it, really? No one uses a city square, it's just filled with youth. And that's kind of been one of those things that's driven me as a practitioner for the last 20-something years, is we don't see young people, or we don't agree that young people are legitimate users of public space. As we say, no standing, sitting, talking, go away, don't sit here. Just the nomenclature about a group of 8-year-olds play, but a gang of 14-year-olds loiter. Like, we have this kind of negative association with young people, and why are they in this space and what are they doing in that space? Whereas other groups, they're allowed to participate and enjoy public space. Click. There we go. So much so, I often reflect on designers of the urban form that we create, that very rarely do we actively stop people from using a public space. And I don't know how many landscape architects are in the room, so I'm trying to work out how many I'm going to offend as an industry. But obviously I design skate parks, so I know how people skate, but to me it's the laziest form of landscape architecture, where we just design anything and then we go, oh, we don't want those people to use it, so we'll just stick some spikes or something on it just to stop people from using it. What kind of message is that sending to people or young people about using public space when you're not putting up a sign, you're just kind of making it so hard that they can't use it? And it kind of keeps going, doesn't it, really, when you start to see kind of places to sit like this, where, don't sit or else you get a sore bottom. Even resorting to the mosquito. So has anyone heard of this before? Yeah.
Tell us.
I don't know if I want to.
No, you do. Tell us.
So this is a system called the mosquito, which has a high-pitched tone that only teenagers and below can hear as a form of deterrent for people socialising or being put in a public space. So it's basically a, what were we calling it the other day? It was it a sonic weapon, basically. It's a sonic weapon to dissuade young people to leave. So just or whatever it does to try and move people. So that's what young people are often presented with. But as the group were talking about before, most young people have a lot of free time, have to be in the city to get around, attracted fashion, music, and they're all in town centres. It's all in those central spaces, and yet we're doing high-pitched devices to stop people from being there. It's crazy. So, is it okay just to hang out in these spaces? So the first thing I like to do is kind of what does hanging out actually mean? So, essentially, yes, young people need to socialise, to hang out, to talk, to flirt, to challenge. It's actually a really important part of play. So when I do a lot of work regarding play for teenagers, a lot of it is just about socialisation. It's about being together. It's about being community. Not necessarily about, in the public realm this is, not necessarily about other requirements. So friendships are amongst the most important activities of life. They're important in helping children develop emotionally and socially. So a lot of teenagers are actually practising to be adults. They are flirting. They're doing all these different things. So by adolescence, 80 to 90% of children have key friends, and most teenagers spend almost a third of their waking time in the company of friends. So they are gathering. They are socialising. So if we look at that, we look at kids loitering and being problems. So loitering is the act of remaining in a particular public space for a protracted time, to stand around idly or without apparent purpose. Antisocial behaviour is not sociable or wanting the company of others. So was I just talking about friends and social? Maybe. So what then is socialising? To mix socially with others. And leisure, the use of free time for enjoyment, opportunity afforded by free time to do something. So a young group of teens loitering is a group of friends socially interacting when they have free time, or a young group of teens at leisure. So I suppose what I'm getting at is most of the time that young people are in public spaces, they're not being antisocial in any shape or form. They're primarily being social. And it's perhaps the adults, it's one or two adults that are the ones that are actually being antisocial. So we're in this situation where we use names, kids are being antisocial, they need to be moved on. Essentially they're not, they're actually just hanging out. Okay, so what are we currently doing? I'm in a field where we're trying to actively provide spaces and places for young people, and so we do play strategies for younger children. We do youth strategies, which more focus on, as I said, service provision, focus programs, etc. Skate strategies, traditional recreational model provision. We're trying to put in places and spaces that you can skate. So there's not a whole lot that focuses on the needs of young people at a more broader level in public space. And then we get this kind of stuff happening. So I don't use skate parks because I don't have a skateboard and I do not like skateboarding. It's pretty blunt. Also, I'm a girl and there's not a lot of activities for us. Very unfair. That is why girls don't get out as much. So this is some of the conversations we get when we talk to people. Because a lot of youth-based provision in the past has been put in a skate park as some kind of solution for young people, which is, hey, I design skate parks, but that's not a solution for the majority of young people. So let's ask our teens. So what I did was, we do a lot of in community engagement with young people at schools, like the young lady was saying before about just connecting with youth and finding a way of what they want. And traditionally, from an engagement point of view, a lot of the discussions we have we kind of ask you what you want. So you go, what would you like to see in this space? We would like a barbecue, a ball court, a skate park, a this, a that, and everything else, and you create this list, and then that becomes the solution for the... And most people, most kids in particular, if you ask them what they want, they'll say a skate park because it's overtly youth. Oh, I'm delivering something because that's something, even if they don't skate. So we've got to ask them different questions. So what we like doing is, what activities do they currently enjoy? And it haven't worked. The green and the red, is that clear? It's probably not too bad. So hanging out at shopping centres, parks and homes is almost 50% of what they do. Going to movies, art, playing music are really high. Lower results, playing organised sport and little old skateboarding. The skate park was 1.7%. So on one hand, from a facility point of view, we're putting in these skate parks, but at the same time, we're not necessarily providing a space or place for young people to enjoy. So then what we do is, what kind of activities would they do if they were made available? Same thing again, just being able to hang out, to go to movie night, look at music programs, art programs, a lot of what was expressed in the panel just previously, and that was fantastic to hear. Once again, playing organised sport and skateboarding and BMX was lower. So sport or active recreation is not necessarily the solution for creating places and spaces for young people. And where do they currently go? Shopping centres, as I said before, great place to go, except they're never allowed to be there. Cinemas, youth centres and the streets, etc. Once again, skate parks and informal sports facility far less. It's not that they're not important, those spaces, but we need to be much more cognisant of the fact that young people just want to be in the city and they want to be where they can get shelter out of the weather of Canberra and have programs and elements that allow them to do that. So outdoor cinema, youth performance stage, teenage play equipment, outdoor music spaces, seating and social spaces. All really, really easy things that can be delivered, but are often not delivered in the public domain in which we live. I love this one in particular, this whole idea that if you're engaged in active sport, you're actually doing all right, you're allowed to be there, but if you're not, you're loitering or you're causing trouble, and this whole thing, oh, as a group of kids, what are they doing there? So they just bring a basketball with them. I just think it's so cool that they... They take a basketball with them, and then they sit there with their basketball, and no one bothers them because everyone thinks they're just having a rest between basketball, but they don't actually play. So in lieu of a perfect world, we've created a new model. When I mean in lieu of a perfect world, in a perfect world, all generations would be able to live and operate freely in the public realm. They would be welcomed. There wouldn't be this sense that some groups shouldn't be there or are loitering or carrying on. But what we try to do is create shared urban spaces that are sited adjacent to youth services or public transport and town centres, so where young people are going to travel, are often presented with clients that say, oh, we want to do a youth space, and it's in this reserve and it's 3 kilometres past the node, and then you've got to go down a hill and you've got to catch 2 buses in, and young people are going to go there and have fun. And it's like, well, no, they're not. They're not going to be able to get there. So accessibility is critical. High natural surveillance and safety. Young people need to feel safe as well. This, once again, that young people are somehow the perpetrators of the evils. Majority of young people are actually there to be safe and enjoy themselves. Once again, what one of the panel members said was regarding, safety of young women and making sure that they're feeling safe and welcome. A high capacity provides centralised programs and events. So the whole conference has been talking about this, about activating and welcoming people and encouraging people and bringing people together. It's the same with young people. And critically, one of the powers of program for young people is what's cool and exciting for this generation could be daggy in 3 years' time. Change the program, change the activation. So we don't have to, art doesn't have to be a physical manifestation like a mural, or if it is going to be aerosol art, that it changes and the next group come in and they do their thing, because it's all about relevance. So I know when I was 17 and someone was 24, very different generations, because things keep moving and keep changing. So the ability to be adaptable and change your space to meet those trends is critical. Attractive to all young people, particularly girls. We do a lot of work in that space, and a lot of the time it's not necessarily about providing facilities that are specific for girls, but what it is to make sure that they're feeling safe and welcome and participating in the space, and that's where those activation and programs become so critical. Sorry, it keeps lagging a bit, sorry. And we're a really big believer that make sure that there is a range of unstructured recreation there. As much as sitting around talking or social media and all these things are really important, being able to actually participate in activities is really, really critical as well. We are talking about childhood obesity and a movement, and I think it was talking about the high rates of teenage obesity as well. So getting people moving is critical. So making sure that there are still opportunities to do that. What we're finding is young people in particular, they can go to a sporting club if they want to be told rules and run programs and things like that. What's lovely about unstructured recreation is they can still be active, they can still participate, but it's in their time with their peers, and it's how they want to use the space. So they're not told by a coach or an umpire, or we talk about accessibility like the dance before. It's the same thing. Like, you can turn up to a space with a skateboard or with a wall, and you can get fit or climb it or traverse it. And as I said, that really big thing about social interaction and programming rather than sport and recreation facilities, and really kind of building that. Okay, location is critical, facility type is not. How am I going, by the way? Who knows? I don't know. I've got lots of pictures to show, because this is all very wordy, and I wanted to get that through. So now I've got pretty pictures, because at the end of the day, words are words are words are words, but what actually you deliver on the space is what's really critical. So we're really fortunate that we're sought out around Australia to kind of work on these types of projects, and Bunbury was a particularly incredible project, because not only were the council supportive of what we were talking about, they backed it up with budget, and they said, we've got this incredible piece of land right at the heart, at the entrance of Bunbury. Oh, does anyone not know where Bunbury is, by the way? No idea? It's somewhere over there. No, it's about 2.5 hours south of Perth, about a population of about 50,000 people. So that's another thing too, like it's a regional centre. And I think they were saying a lot of the community was saying, no, you can't use that piece of land, that's far too valuable for young people. And council said it's far too valuable to not be for young people. And I think that's probably sums up the council as well. Okay, so really quickly, I think once again, I just have to keep pointing to the empty chairs, but the lovely people that were here previously about talking to people, engaging. So we didn't just kind of make up what we thought was the best possible space. We ran a significant engagement process where we spoke with almost 600 people. A lot of school workshops, stickers, information, over 300 young people and children. We worked with a youth advisory group that were amazing, because they're actually the council. They're actually the ones that approved the design and approved the project. So we had to convince them that what we were doing was appropriate. Yeah, which is great. And they were really empowered throughout the whole process. You can see me in the background. I don't ever wear anything other than a black T-shirt and jeans. Design. Yes, that's. Well, I was blue yesterday, now I'm black. You see, I'm more in my design mode. Skate was still a key component of this project, which I actually love, because I think skate is such a really interesting appropriation of the urban space. It's free, it's intergenerational, and it provides young people a kind of a place to go. We developed high quality concept designs. For us, it was really important to make sure that the young people that we were working with understood what we were going to be designing and could appreciate what it is. There's no point saying, oh, yeah, love all your ideas, we'll see you later when it's all delivered. So we actually included VR goggles, so they were able to walk through and experience it all and understand what was happening in the space, which is critical because the other thing, this whole project was run through COVID. So we went and visited all the engagement and had this great process with all these young people, and then 2 years we weren't allowed in WA. So we designed and documented it and all put together. So this is the built place anyway. So it's right in the heart of Bunbury. It's, as you come in at the entrance, it's a significant space. It's a vibrant intergenerational precinct in the heart of Bunbury CBD. So we're talking a budget of about 8 mil. So for us, that's just incredible that the council not only put youth front and centre, but they also said that we're not just going to do something trivial or we're going to spend significant money. As you can see, there's lights, lots of feature lights. So as people drive into the city, this is the first thing they see. Key role we talked about, inclusivity, all abilities. We work closely with their access and inclusion team. It is a space that is used by all different groups that are of all abilities. It has parkour spaces for those that are really interested in parkour. We work closely with a group of young people that had already got their own space, and they helped design it with us. It does have a massive skate park, BMX and scooterers for all ages. We added mini golf into the space, which we found was a huge thing that a lot of teenagers were saying, because it's such a great activity, like it's a date activity. So first date, you go and you play mini golf because you're doing something, but you're not actually, but you're still a kid. So all those things, there's some younger kids, and I think one of the things that I find really important with these spaces, even though it's called a youth precinct, we've kind of got rid of that. Like, this is a space for anyone in the community to enjoy. Sorry. It is an active space. People are still really being expressive and doing some crazy stuff, and I love that side of it. I love the fact that people are performing essentially and doing and testing themselves and challenging themselves. So it is an intergenerational space that privileges the needs of all young people. It's active and exciting both during night and day, and it's, as I've said right throughout this whole discussion, it's also about places and spaces to hang out. So whilst there are active elements in the entire space, it is primarily a precinct which allows you just to go and hang out. Challenge you physically, as well as quiet areas for games and play. So they run a lot of programs, they run a lot of events. They've got their own youth centre there, so they're running programs such as Jenga. There's a dance opportunity. They play music. We talked before about, as a dance space, you don't need a designated dance space. You just need a designated open space that has also got ball sports, but they run a dance event and then they run a ball sport event. It's got climbing, once again, unstructured recreation. Shooting hoops. We put in some traditional play, but it was all social, if that makes sense. So it was not swings and slides. It was stuff that younger or older kids could engage and have fun together. So this is a mouse wheel. They do food programs and they feed them all, and they do cooking classes. They do all this other stuff. So this is this other programming so you've got this physical space, and you've got all these other programs around it. Significant amount of art and craft activation. There's a big climbing net at the back there as well, which once again is just a large climbing space, but it's not prescriptive. You can climb on it, lie on it, fall off it. It is just there. It's not a designated play element. They engage some Indigenous artists to do some beautiful murals on the space as well. So it's an art space, and you saw all those blue walls we created. They're just kind of the starting point, and the intent is that different art groups will go through and start filling that up with all their own artwork that's relevant and interesting to them. yeah, it's a space that young people can hang out and have fun. So when we talked about, you know, spaces and places for people in Canberra, what Bunbury's been able to achieve is obviously a smaller budget, smaller population, but they've been able to create a precinct that people can come to and use. You can skate, you can play, you can just hang out, you can run events, you can listen to music, you can be there at night, you can be there during the day, you can go to programs, you can do all these different things, and it's right in the heart of the CBD, right next to the schools, and it's so, I suppose from our point of view, so rewarding to be able to create those kind of spaces and privileging young people and putting them front and centre and saying, you guys matter, you're really important to our future, and that's what this whole space is about. It's, you know, you always got to do the sunset shot at the end, but it's a massive space too, and the fact that it's so big, sometimes kind of, when you're in there, what I love about it is you're actually in a complete wonderland of activities that are all about free recreation, fun and social interaction. So in conclusion, sorry, I had to do that. In conclusion, I had this big wordy conclusion, but just let's make sure young people are welcomed and active participants in our public space. Thank you, guys.